programmers, writers. We're really focused on just building a strong startup community. So it's really like, it kind of started by entrepreneurs who just knew enough entrepreneurs who wanted to get together and start the space. So we're going to start having some workshops and speaker series focused on starting a business. So anytime you guys want to come on by, I'm going to pass around this email list in case you want to be added to our list, and we'll keep you updated on other events like this one. And if you have any questions, just find me afterwards.
Great, thank you. So before we start with our keynote speaker, we have a special treat. The keynote speaker will talk about how you go out and raise millions and millions and millions of funds, dollars in funds from chocolate funds in Detroit. But before you get money, you have to have an idea, you have to have a company. So we're going to start with a very, very early stage company. She just made an appearance at 10X Detroit. I think she's on her way to Jay Leno's show or something along those lines. So Asia, if you'll come on up. And she's going to tell us what her business, Super Business Girl, does. It's a 5-year-old company. And I will put the timer on 5 minutes for you. So go ahead. Thank you.
Well, hello everyone. How are you?
Good. How are you?
That's fantastic. I hope you're prepared for an awesome evening. My name is Adrian Newson. I'm Detroit's youngest entrepreneur, and I'm also the CEO of Super Business Girl. I became the CEO of Super Business Girl when I was 5 years old, and my dad introduced me to the business world when I was 3. He let me talk to a couple of his customers, and I was like, okay, it's pretty cool and it's pretty fun. So then we started traveling. We went to New York and Atlanta, Ohio, California, and other places in the United States, and it was very fun. But I wanted to try it on my own. I didn't want my dad to keep starting off the presentation. I thought that, that's not cool. I want to do it myself. So what I did was I just started off the presentation and I just kept going. So when we came to Detroit, we had a little difficulty selling my candles, and that was okay because with my ambition, I still got pretty far where I got free office space here at Bamboo. I've been on Channel 4 News and been in different newspapers, and this experience was amazing. So I want other children to have the same experience. I want them to be able to, have the charisma and ambition, the same thing that I do. And I just really want them to be them and have positive minds and have business minds. And so that's my goal. That's been my goal for 5 years, and I want to accomplish that goal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking out. I'm going to be on the streets of Detroit, talking to different kids, interviewing different kids about their past and stuff like that. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to ask them, hey, you want to be a part of Super Business Girl? But what I mean by that, I'm just really going to be looking for young kids. And I'm just asking you all, if you have any young kids that have the potential to be an entrepreneur, look me up at superbusinessgirl.com and Adrian Newson Facebook and just tell me about them, because I need a whole bunch of entrepreneurs. So that's pretty much it. But I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. Not really too much about my company, even though my company is really what I'm all about. But not only I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a singer, I'm a dancer, I'm a rapper, and I'm just me. I'm just Asia, and I'm just myself. And I just want to let you all know that in order to accomplish your dreams, you got to be yourself. You can't let nobody see how you're not. Like, you can't just walk up to somebody and tell them who you're not, act like you're somebody else. I go out selling my handmade candles. I don't walk up to somebody and say, hi, I'm Dejanay, and I'm selling these candles that I bought. Oh, I'm sorry, made. No, I sell my handmade candles. I be Asia. And if you ever want to accomplish a goal, you have to be, what's your name?
Andy.
You have to be Andy. No, don't be Andy, but, be yourself. But I'm just me. You have to be yourself. And so that's what I do. I just be myself when I talk to these people. And so I really want to reach the goal of having a location, transportation, and I just want the necessary tools I need to teach young people, at-risk youth, how to become self-sufficient through an entrepreneurship educational program. Was that 5 minutes?
You have 1.5 minutes left. You're doing really well. You can talk some more, or we can go to questions and answers.
Question and answers.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Asia?
What's What's the website again?
Superbusinessgirl.com. And you had a question, yes?
Yeah, so is the primary business that you are in is making and selling candles? Is that right?
Well, a little bit. Primary business I am right now is teaching young people how to become entrepreneurs. But the product that we're using is candles.
Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions? Please ask questions. I need advice on my presentation.
I don't think so.
What do you charge for your candles, and is a store locally carrying them?
Well, right now I'm selling them on the streets, but I do have a store on Woodward, the handmade company. I think they're going through something right now. I think they closed it down a little, but you'll see me everywhere because I'm always downtown after school and everything like that. You can visit my website, superbusinessgirl.com. My candles are on there.
Okay.
And you said, how much are my candles?
Yes.
Well, I have different prices for my candles. On a regular day basis, I sell my candles for about $15, $20. But you know, my candles go up to $70. I can even go down $5. So I have different prices for my candles, but I really sell my candles for about $15.
And do they have scents?
Yes, I have all different scents. Skittle candles, M&M candles, my custom-made candles, all different types of candles.
And different colors?
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
Any more questions? Yes?
Yeah, do you have any like advice for someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, whether they be a kid or an adult?
Well, you have to stay motivated, and you can't let no's stop you. Because when I'm out there, I get a lot of no's, but I just keep going. People try to discourage you, people try to knock your dreams, but you just have to keep going. And if you keep going, whether your presentation is bad or not, somebody will find you and they'll be like, that's the girl or that's the boy. So really just have motivation, have ambition, and don't let no's discourage you. Yes?
Have you met, who have you met? Have you met any, do you meet regular people? I heard you say something about Dan Gilbert. Have you met any other famous people? Can you give us any feedback on that?
Yes, I've met a lot of different famous people. I've met rappers out of Flavor Fave. I met at my development center. I met MC Hammer. I done met a lot of different people. Like I said, Dan Gilbert, and you know, I done met local Andrew Humphrey, Rhonda Walker, different people, you know, but I get a lot of advice from my customers. And you know, customers are very important people too, because without my customers, this business wouldn't be running right now. So those, I guess, they're very important people. So you guys are some of the important people I know.
What do you need to help your business grow right now?
I need a location to teach young people like myself how to become entrepreneurs. I need transportation. I need boards, and you know, when I mean boards, I'm saying training material. Also need more things for my Super Business Girl merchandise brand. I need t-shirts, hats, I need more business cards. When I say Super Business Girl brand, I mean everything. Super Business Girl earrings, Super Business Girl jeans, Super Business Girl lunch boxes, Super Business Girl water bottles, Super Business Girl everything. Yes?
Yeah, I think you need more video to reach more people.
More video?
Yeah, don't you need video to reach more people?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'll help with that.
Thank you. Yes.
I have one more question. I'm wondering, like, what if somebody invested in you, how do they know that you're the real deal? How do people know that you're just not up there just talking? Because you could just be any cute little girl. How do I know that get a return on the investment or something?
Well, like I said, I talked to Dan Gilbert. You could ask the billionaire Dan Gilbert. I've been on it.
Your credentials, huh?
You just have to talk to me. You'll see when you talk to me. Like, it's just something inside me. It's just a fireball. And when you see me, you'll just know. Like, you have to ask my customers. You have to ask the people that I talk to. I really can't answer that question for them because they're the ones that really see the potential in me. And they're the ones that are like, hey, that's the girl. And that's how I'm the real deal. I'm a real entrepreneur, people. I really am.
Yes, you are. And how old are you?
Pardon me?
How old are you?
I'll be 11 March 27th.
I have one more question. besides your business, I know you said you wanted to entertain, and you're an entertainer and things like that. Do you have any, besides advice for the kids in the neighborhood, do you have any aspirations to do other things to help the kids in the neighborhood to be where you at?
Yes, like when I know I'm going to get my building. So when I get my building, I'm going to have like a little special program there inside there I'll take kids out the neighborhood. I'm going to charge kids to, come to my Super Business Girl training program, but the kids who I really see the potential in, I'm going to let them just be a part for free, or I pay out of my pocket. It's just, I'll just see them, and I tutor kids in my neighborhood. I tutor my next door neighbors. Sometimes we all meet up at the corner, start talking and rapping and stuff like that. So I pretty got that much covered myself.
Great. I think that if we're sensible, we'll each buy an autograph from her right now, so that in 20 years we say, I can remember when I used to be young and I met her before she earned her $5 billion. So Asia, super. Thank you very much. Do appreciate it.
For anybody who's standing up, we have more seats right here. Feel free to fill in and sit down. Stand.
All I can say is I am glad my name is not Adrian Ohmer, who has to follow Asia. Just a little bit of background on Adrian. Adrian is an associate at Invest Detroit, covering both the Detroit Innovate Funds and the First Step Funds. Prior to that, he was a co-founder of the Wedding Seed, an online wedding giving platform. He's a recent graduate of U of M Law School. We served as editor-in-chief of the Michigan Journal of Private Equity and Venture Capital Law. He's a co-author of a primer on securities crowdfunding as part of the JOB Act. During summer at law school, he worked in New York, where he focused on small and emerging corporate matters and funding formation. Prior to law school, he worked at Goldman Sachs on credit derivatives. Credit derivatives in Detroit doesn't go well in the same sentence. I would take that out of my bio. And also private wealth management, so that part's okay. He's a graduate of Georgetown University, where he served as chairman of the Students of Georgetown, Inc., one of the largest student-run 501c3s in the country. And just to keep his head on straight, he maintains an active yoga practice at Detroit Yoga. So Adrian, come on up and tell us a little bit about what you do. Thank you.
I do not want to follow you. You were so impressive. When I was 10, I was barely on the soccer field. You were much more accomplished. I just wanted to come and talk about Invest Detroit's two primary funds that cover the small and emerging company space. The Detroit Innovate Fund is our newest launched fund. It's a proper Series A seed to Series A fund, where we concentrate on IP protectable businesses. We like to lead rounds in that fund of 250, 300 kind of classic Series A, pre-seed, seed, and Series A fund. And those are going to be IP protectable businesses, mostly in advanced healthcare, automation, manufacturing, resource efficiencies, which is the new word for green energy. So those businesses kind of keep this in mind. And then on our other portfolio is First Step Fund, which my colleague Stella Safari is here. And she primarily covers First Step Fund, and that is market agnostic. We'll look at businesses anywhere. We like to be the first institutional money into a company of up to $50,000. We'll go in with a bunch of other people here locally, kind of people nationally. And that one, we've got about 50 companies in our portfolio now. So that one's the kind of the more well-known one amongst the kind of starting out companies in the area. And then kind of the person who I'm speaking on behalf of, Martin Dover, runs the venture development arm of our organization, which is kind of consolidating a lot of the resources between Ann Arbor and Detroit for starting businesses, kind of where to go in the next step of the process, people who have gotten funding through For Step Fund, how do we get them to graduate into Detroit Innovate Fund type money levels? If you're not kind of in either fund, how do we get you into the proper funding sources? And one of the nice parts about Detroit, Southeast Michigan in general, is everyone knows everyone. If you're not a fit for us, you're a fit for someone else in town, and we know all of those people in town, and we can put you in front of those right people if we think you're, a decent funding opportunity. So with that, I'll leave it open for questions about Invest Detroit, Detroit Innovate, First Step Fund, any of our funds, and kind of how we work here in Southeast Michigan, the funding community.
Yeah. How does the overall funding and ownership process work? So when you invest in a company, yep. Do you then take partnership in that company, or how does that? What is your benefit in doing that?
Yeah, so I mean, it depends on the company, right? Most traditionally, kind of a classic VC investment, let's call it, we're going to take some equity ownership in the company. This is classic VC. This is, if we talk about First Step Fund and our smallest money that would go into a company, that would be all convertible note. So it would be debt into your company, it would convert into equity at some point in the future, which we would negotiate in the note writing process. So we want to benefit on the upside. So if you get a future round as a company, we want to be able to benefit either coming back to the table and putting more money into the company because we see that it's progressing, or at some point we'll want to cash out and kind of bring our cash out of the company, and the company can continue going. So all of our reasons for investing is all to the point where there is upside to partake in. So our interests are aligned with the founders of the company. We want to make sure that everyone's getting kind of progressing in the right way, so everyone can benefit in some kind of upside. Yeah.
How if somebody invested your money, my money into you, and something like, say for instance, if a conflict go on and you get mad at me, would you how would that work out? They invested your money into them, and now you can get off my team. So how does that go?
Great question, and there's a lot of startup literature around founders and funders not getting along sometimes. Well, one, we try to be very selective in the beginning to make sure that the team that we're investing in is someone that we can work with. So if we like you, and we think you're smart, and we think you're credible, and we think you're going to do well, there's not going to be. We don't foresee that issue. We kind of try to get rid of that in the early stages and try to make sure we don't have to have those problems. But if those problems were to come up, generally the agreement that you've signed, so when you get the money, you'll sign a piece of paper that says, okay, I agree to do X, Y, and Z. Though that piece of paper will say how we have to take care of problems if it becomes bad. But we hope it would never become bad.
Can you rattle off some of the companies currently in your portfolio, and also what types of companies are you looking to invest in?
Yeah, so for the First Step Fund side, we'll look at anything. Seriously, our companies run the gambit from, you know more off the top of your head.
Yeah, we have some lifestyle businesses.
Yeah. Everything, tech,
tech, and it just varies.
One of our companies is about to launch a Kickstarter campaign next week. Glyph is the name of the product. Yeah. So we'll do anything. Kind of runs the board. Detroit Innovate side is going to be the specific industries I mentioned: healthcare, automation, manufacturing, and then resource efficiency.
You've got to have some type of criteria to filter. Right. So what do you look for when you're approaching someone for investment?
For which fund? Yeah. For First Step Fund, yeah. First Step Fund, it's going to be kind of we'll listen to anyone. We'll take Stella and I, we'll take meetings with anyone. We'll listen to it. We'll see if it's something that we could write an investment memo on. Okay. And if we can, then we'll write it, and our bosses, Adrian Fortino, will either say yes and bring it to committee, or no, and we won't take it to committee. So it's a small team. Adrian runs the fund with Mahendra, and then it's me and Stella. It's 4 of us. We're a startup effectively too. We're only about a year and a half old at the time.
No, but you're okay. You're okay.
Can you share a little bit more about your involvement in the Michigan crowdfunding bill and kind of what you see coming out of that?
So I was involved with Michigan on the call. I wrote and kind of spent a lot of my time in law school around the idea of crowdfunding, more on the federal side, so the larger Jobs Act side. So that's what my co-authorship of the paper was on. I think there are interesting challenges with crowdfunding. I mean, these would be my own personal opinions, totally. We can talk afterwards about my personal opinions on crowdfunding outside of anything I want affiliated with Invest Detroit or Detroit Innovate. We can talk. Sure. Yes?
Can you tell me what crowdfunding is?
Yeah, it's a great question. Crowdfunding is when, have you heard of Kickstarter? No? So crowdfunding is when, let's say you have an idea for a business and you want everyone in this room to give you $10 to support that business. And then all of those people in turn want, let's say, 1% equity in your business, right? They want to own 1% of your business. Crowdfunding allows for that to happen. Before this job, the law got changed last year. That was illegal. That could not happen. And Governor Snyder, the governor of Michigan, just signed a law over Christmas that allows for that to happen in the state of Michigan as well. So the law's changing really fast. It's kind of interesting.
Can you tell me a little bit about innovation? Something I can't remember the first word, but it was something innovation.
Innovate Fund?
Detroit Innovate. Oh, that's our fund. That's that fund that concentrates on healthcare and manufacturing and transportation and resource efficiency.
Do you personally yourself, your team, or do you have a list of consultants that provide coaching, mentoring to the startups that you fund?
So there are two answers to that question. First, through Detroit Innovate, we have a team of entrepreneurs and residences. They can only in residence one place. In residence, so 3 of them on our team that are technically a part of our fund, or they aren't technically employees of our fund, but they are kind of on contract with us. And so they go in and kind of suss out a lot of opportunities to kind of bring founders to the table. And they have expertise in those industries, usually PhDs in those industries, and help us find those opportunities. And then through Martin Dover's end, through the venture development end of it, that's where he'll get involved a lot of the times in making sure the right talent is getting in front of the right kind of consultants or whoever it needs to be, get them to that next step of funding. So we want to make sure we have a full kind of 360-degree view of our investments when they come into our portfolio.
Okay.
Great.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. We'll segue over into our 4 companies. The first person to speak will be Scott Kloustin. A little bit of personal background. Scott, not once, but twice, took a bus from Ann Arbor to Los Angeles for the Rose Bowl. 3 days and 2 nights. That's like real commitment. I did it just for the heck of it. My butt is complaining about that right now already. The original name of his company, which is now RoboTeleCop, was Suits vs. Bots. Sort of a play on Plants vs. Zombies, Defense Against Robotic Callers. Customers didn't get it at all. So it's like, all right, if customers can't take a joke, let's go to something a little more normal. So RoboTeleCop is now the name of the company. And Scott will... I think we're level here as far as the projectors.
This wall's kind of...
Ah, okay. That's bad. That's straight. Okay, Scott, I'll give you 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Great. So we are RoboTeleCop, and what we do is we address a very big issues, right? So people all the time get automated phone calls, they get telemarketers, they get these calls. So who here has ever received a telemarketer call they didn't want? Right? A lot of people, right? And it's a really big problem, and we know that in the last year there were 3.8 million complaints to the FTC. So these people actually took the time to express their frustration directly to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. But what most people don't know is that there are real rewards associated with the problem, right? So each violation, you can potentially receive $500 to $1,500. So what our solution does is really raise awareness of this problem and also raise awareness of the rewards that are out there to also track violations, and then the consumers can then reap the rewards. So this was kind of an idea I was kicking around for about a month or two, and I just went to Startup Week in Detroit back in November, and we ended up being voted the People's Choice and came in second place overall. So we're really excited about that. Kind of getting into how our solution actually works. So we have built a mobile app, and in this app you can report the violations, and it goes directly to our evidence cloud, right? So we build a case profile and just kind of walk you through kind of the first time screens when you use the app, right? So it kind of welcomes you into it, gives you kind of an onboarding process. And then also, so after a call comes in, you're going to open the app, and now I'll let kind of Matt walk through how the app works.
Sure, so the first time you open up the app will automatically identify the user's phone number, and that's what we'll be using for tracking evidence throughout the app. When a user gets a phone call, after they hang up on the phone call, they open up the app, and we automatically pull in the phone number that they received, as well as we can try to attempt to caller ID that number, and they can include any information related to that call. They submit that data, and it gets posted up to our cloud, and then for the user, it's done at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. So it comes into our evidence cloud, which looks like this, kind of the raw version of it, and in the back end we can do intelligence. We can look into, which calls or which companies are the most or the largest violators, which consumers have the best case profile, and that kind of leads to our revenue model. So we look at the individual cases, we bundle them together, and then we actually sell them to legal firms, right, as in forms of leads. So they take these and they can then pursue the cases and reap the rewards with the consumer, with no cost to the consumer. We've also been really excited since Startup Weekend. We discovered a whole new niche to go after in this area, which is debt relief. So once a consumer enters into debt relief, no longer can they be contacted by their creditors, right, once the power of attorney takes over. So we realized that there's $1,000 per violation of the FDCPA, which is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. So we realized that, and plus you can also score legal fees, so the lawyers are happier about that. And then we've also, in combination with this debt relief firm, they have a nationwide network of lawyers that we're able to leverage, so we can effectively bring these cases at scale, which really is the only way that it works. And looking at our funnel, so we plan on getting downloads. Right now we're polishing the final version of or initial version of the app for the Android App Store. So we're looking at downloads, and from there we want you to activate you as a user. So we want you to enter your phone number, and then we want you to start using the app, right? So you get telemarketer violation, you report that. And then in terms of the back end, we build our plaintiff profile. In terms of our roadmap, so we want to finish the app, get it ready for the App Store. We also want to add landlines. We've had a lot of people that have expressed interest in being able to add their landline, and we can also verify that is their real number. And then also looking at text messaging spam as well. In the meantime, we'll also be ramping up our PR. We've already gotten decent amount of press from our local our local media from Startup Weekend success. But we're looking to really ramp that up and get even more marketing as we push this app out to the wider audience. And with that, basically, excuse me, I have to go somewhere. A telemarketing crime is happening. So, yeah, that's it.
Great, thank you. Questions?
Yeah.
What is considered a violation?
So, good question. So a violation is something like when you as a consumer, you're on the do not call list, and they're just dialing random numbers and they come across yours. So there's a national do not call registry. Another form of the violation can be if you explicitly ask to be put on that company's do not call list, and then they call you again, that's a violation. Also, you can ask for a copy of the do not call policy, and if they don't send that to you, that's also a violation. Asia.
Do you know if there are other apps that's just like that?
That's a good question. We actually looked at the competitive landscape, and right now there's other apps in the App Store like Call Control and some other ones, And they use a system that really just relies on blocking numbers and white lists and black lists and all this kind of thing. But we feel like that's more of a technical solution. We're looking at it from a legal perspective. We want to hit them where it really hurts in their pocketbook and go after them in court and go after them for real money.
And give something back to the users. Make them feel better.
So, more of a question about the startup lifestyle itself. I'm interested in the startup lifestyle, but the piece I struggle with is how do you support yourself now while you're getting your product to market? Like, are you consulting, doing other things, or what?
I ask myself that all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good question. Well, for me, I mean, I've been doing freelance things since 2011. I've been doing my own thing, and thankfully that's given me flexibility to be able to work on projects like this. But in this case, we're fortunate enough that we can work with like this debt relief agency who's ready to start paying us to build them a white label version of the app. So that's a quick way to get revenue while we ramp up on the consumer side. Yep.
So you mentioned being able to track the number that you're inputting. A lot of times the company that's actually behind the offense are hiding behind being an aggregator. So they're distributing your number to multiple companies and they're calling you from different numbers each time. How would you address an issue like that?
So, I mean, it's hard. It's not the most straightforward thing. Our main plan is to collect as much data as we can, and we can start to analyze that and maybe look for patterns or different things related to that. So, we've got the phone number, we've got the location, the duration of the call, the time of day, all that type of stuff, and we can use a number of tools to try and, figure out more about that data. And it's every piece of data is going to be different. So there's going to be some that are going to be clear-cut, some that are going to be a little more gray, and that's just kind of the nature of how we can collect evidence. But over time, we'll hope to be able to use more types of analysis and stuff like that to try and match numbers and really pinpoint who these people are.
For me as a consumer, for me as a consumer, how much am I looking at receiving for filing a claim with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the violations of the do not call violations, you're looking at, as you as a consumer would receive anywhere from $300 to maybe $1,000 per violation, depending on the severity and everything. So yeah, so it's pretty great. And then on the debt relief side, you'll receive $1,000 for every violation, and then the lawyer takes his fee separately. That's why they like that approach so much. Stella?
What's like a typical timeline that you envision for this entire process?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're polishing the app with our development team. We have Matt and Josh here, and they're able to work on it. So we're looking at probably within 30 to 60 days of getting it polished and ready for the App Store. And then we'll be doing a much larger push for press and for marketing to get downloads and whatnot.
I think she's more asking the time frame for the actual
consumer.
Yeah, the actual consumer.
Oh, right. Yep. So it's different depending on what it is. So if it's the regular do not call list, that can go through small claims court, and you can get them to settle relatively quickly, maybe within 3 to 6 months. On the debt relief side, it's a little bit different.
It's not super fast, but you have to remember this is just money on the table that you might use this app and not even think about it or anything for a couple of months, but how great would it be to get a call from a lawyer and say, hey, we got this call, we've been looking at this data, and it'd be awesome to be able to get a check for doing nothing, basically. So
yeah, so I can set up a new phone number, post it everywhere on the web, put it on the no-call list, and wait for the money to roll in.
That's an idea we've come across, and we call that a honey pot. So it certainly is one approach. And in fact, a lot of these agencies will scrub their call list from litigious people that do a lot of suits. So they're aware of it, and if they scrub your number, you stop getting calls.
Right.
So mission accomplished.
Great.
Yep. One more question for.
Okay, go ahead. One more. Yeah,
sure. Scott, this is an app that I can download, and like you said, pretty much on your end, you guys are policing it and sending the data to me, and I can like just pop it on anytime that I want and just watch it pop up. And how does once I see that a violation is committed, you said you have the app is an easy app that tells me do I have to do my own paperwork, or do you guys do the paperwork for me, or is it transacted through the phone, do the money comes on my card, or how does that work?
So the way the app is, it's super simple for the user. Basically, you get a phone call. After that phone call's over, you open up the app, and through the phone, we already pull a lot of the information from that phone call. So pretty much all you have to do is say, okay, yeah, this is what it is. You can include any information that, you know, if you were talking to the person, you can, you know, include the company or their name or whatever. Any details, the more details that you include, the better chance that we have of actually seeing that through to be a settlement or something like that. And so it's going to be as simple as possible for the user to be able to just not have to worry about it.
Okay. Great. Super. Thank you very much. Ryan? Ryan? Yeah. It's right here. Bryant used to be a closet nerd. Okay. Bryant used to be a closet nerd until, like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, he metamorphosized into an adult. I still haven't reached that stage myself, so you're a couple steps ahead of me. He collected trading cards, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, etc., until he went to college. I'll tell you about my extensive comic book collection that I still have. So, he conceived of the name of the company and the concept in the shower as a bolt of inspiration, not a bolt of lightning, thank God. He planned out 30 years of product releases and new innovations. And that's what he's going to talk to you about tonight.
Yes.
Take it away, Brian.
All right, thank you. So, what is Evermure? I should extend this way. Evermure is essentially Pandora for art. So, what does that mean? Okay, so let's just actually. So, what is the problem I'm solving here? So,
speak up a little bit.
Okay, so the problem I'm solving with Evermure is the fact that we are now coming of age. So millennials, we command $1.3 trillion in buying revenue, and in the art market, which is a $64 billion market internationally, we're severely underrepresented. We're basically not present. And 70% of all art sold is of the modern or contemporary aesthetic. And so, I should speak a little bit louder there. So Evermure is a way to democratize the consumption of art for the millennial market, which is a $1.3 trillion market. So with this, what is the solution? So how are we doing this? So we are reimagining the art experience on the smartphone and your HD TV. This is technology that we already have, and so you're not changing that much what you're already doing. All right, so like I said before, millennials, we are the first generation expected not to do better than our parents. And so Evermure is a way to give us our success deferred by affording us the luxury of art. Fine art, that is. Let's see. Oh yeah, so for artists, on the artist side, it also, it gives you a more democratic path of success. Now let's see, how do we make money? I'm trying to make this as quick as possible. How do we make money? What is the business model? Well, you vote art, you collect art, and you subscribe to artists, and you can track your collection. All right, and now this app builds a profile on you, so you get to know what your tastes are. So when you do eventually purchase art, physical art, I'll say, you already know, you know the language of these curators and these gallery owners. And so how do you make money? So when you're voting on your art, the top trending pieces of art is sold in what I call a digital art fair. And so this digital art fair lasts for 1 week, and we sell the top trending pieces over the top categories for $40 per poster. And naturally, this will be sold in other various, in other products, basically. And so if we sell 5,000 of these at $40 a piece, that's $200,000, and that's every month. So let's see. So these are pre-ordered, so we're not purchasing any inventory. So it's a very lean business model. Our expenses are very low, And we also have another revenue generation technique, which is, I don't know if this has been done before, but I call it the pay to break model. So this is a closed platform, and it is free to join if you know someone. Now, if you don't know someone, you can just pay a small fee, and a portion of that goes to a local gallery, such as 5E Gallery, that will go towards some kind of social cause, so you know that we're not pocketing all of that money. So I think that the pay to break model is a really cool way to allow people to break the rules and not feel restricted, but you know, you just pay a little bit of money if you don't know anybody. That is essentially how the monetization strategy works. So I'm trying to keep this as high level as possible. So how do we get users for this app? That is the golden question. So we're constantly seeding this app every month. So the goal is 500 users on the artist side every month. So how are we reaching these guys? So we're advertising to 637,000 impressions every month, and it only costs us $308 because we're targeting these people through very specific sources such as art blogs, and these people are already passionate about art, so we're directly reaching these people. So let's say 2% of those 637 impressions are actually reaching our app. That is roughly 12,500 people. And now let's be even more conservative with that and say that 2% of that 2% actually signed up. So let's say we're getting 254 users a month. All right, so let's say that we're reaching half of this. So this is exactly how we get new users. Look at this graph here. Our seed artists, they have their own warm networks. So if you get on social media, you know you already have people who are already looking at your artwork. And so those people know other people in their same network, which is also known as your total serviceable area. Total serviceable market, I'm sorry. And so we're constantly reseeding, and these people know other people. And so that's actually how it works. That's one of our business metrics that we're using. If people are sharing our app, we know that we're building a good product. And so that's a way for us to track how we're doing. And this is an overview of exactly how everything plays together. So this is over a period of time. We will eventually branch off into hardware. And feel free to look at this overview and ask me any questions based on my overview. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, questions?
Can you explain to me a little bit about the Pandora of art?
Yes. So Pandora of art. What do you do with Pandora? You basically you listen to music and you get a chance to, you vote, whoever, you like it, you don't like it, whatever, and it continually serves you more music based on what you like. So essentially with this app, it is pulling from that. You're basically voting on the artwork that you do like, and it's only serving you stuff that you like. And so it builds a profile based on your likes, and you get to tell, it tells you, okay, I like photography. Oh, I like this particular genre. I like this particular subject matter, and it builds a profile only based on that.
Can I using your app, if I find a bunch of pictures I like, can I just AirPlay that to my Apple TV?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely.
I like
that. Yeah. I'm glad you did it. Any more questions? Go ahead.
Have you ever thought about making an app, making a little thing on there where you could make your own picture?
You know what? I have thought about that, and there are some. Technically, artists can make their own pictures. They can upload them. So technically, that is technically a feature. But for the user, we're not unfortunately allowing people to put up their Facebook photos from that party last night. It's specifically for fine art. You had a question?
Yeah, I love the concept. I'm thinking for my personal use, the time when I bought artwork, and I'm not an art person, so I'm not part of that market that you described there.
Right.
But when I moved into college and whenever I bought a new house is when I was in the market for posters and so forth.
Right.
Have you thought about targeting that market and maybe bringing that $40 price down for college students? Because my walls were plastered with all sorts of art.
You know what? I will consider it. Thank you. Yeah,
because otherwise you have to go to the bookstore and you flip. Well, I'm old, but that's how I would get it. But man, if I had an app where I could flip through and say, yeah, send that one to me, I'd like that on my wall.
Exactly.
Because I think that's when a lot of people are buying that kind of stuff.
Right. Exactly.
Just an idea at the top.
Oh, just so everyone knows, the MVP shall be complete by the end of this month, early next month. So just keep an eye out. Any more questions?
You could even buy lists from Target and Bed Bath & Beyond, people that are buying stuff and moving into a new house, and target those.
Yeah. Okay, let's give someone else a chance. I'll come right back to you. Any more questions from anybody else? Scott?
I know you started to explain this last slide. Can you explain a little bit?
Okay, so this is how everything plays together. If you look at our artists, so we have our artists who are serving their content to our web-based app. So let's say it's a market. Let's say it evolved to a marketplace similar to an iTunes. So this is it in its full glory. All right, and so we can control this from our smartphones, from our laptops, or from our iPad. And this information, this is kind of, I'm pretty excited about this, but the marketplace can actually link to this proprietary hardware that I'm going to develop. This is about 2 to 3 years out, but it's called the Evermirror frame. And it is a dedicated frame for your artwork, which you don't have to plug in. There is some technology that has advanced to the point where I can actually produce this now, where, yes, you can literally have a frame on your wall, and it is powered by the ambient energy called, through energy harvesting techniques. And so, why does that matter? How does that fit into the grand scheme of things? Well, like I said before, I'm looking to reimagine the art experience for the digital age. So we can now have smart galleries. So how cool would that be to syndicate an art exhibition across the United States? Let's say Bansky came to town and he wanted to syndicate art, and you're only producing it once, and it's broadcasting through these Evermirror frames all across galleries in the world, possibly. So that's how it's so how is this a benefit to the gallery owners? Well, would you like to bring a world-renowned artist to your gallery? They may not be able to get there in person, but hey, we have their art here. And so it's through this medium. So that's what I see. So after we prove it and we test the prototypes in these art galleries in a commercialized setting, once it's battle tested, we can finally deliver it directly to the consumer in their home, first through a limited production, and then once we break out the buzz with that, we'll go into full production, and that's essentially how it works. Nice to see you. Do you have any questions, Maria?
I'm good.
You good? Okay.
I think it's a cool project.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank you. Adrian, have more questions?
Yes. Can you okay, can I request a painting and then you send it to me?
If you knew that artist, I'm pretty sure, why not? But through this app, it doesn't necessarily have that feature built into it, but I will look into that. That may be something to work for sure. Sure.
That seems like a really nice thing, but don't you think it's a lot of other people out there that's doing that right now?
Actually, I've listed the competition, and in this particular way, no, but even if they are, am I okay to?
Yeah, go ahead, finish.
Okay,
yeah.
So even if they are, the cool part about having competition is that I'm creating a brand around it, and it's a lifestyle brand centered around art. So my goal is to become the Apple of the art world. So there is a Samsung, there is Microsoft, but I want to be the Apple of art. All right, so that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
You okay on tape? Okay. Jay is going to come on up. At the age of 13, Jay was visiting some family down in West Virginia, and he and a bunch of others were running down a steep hill. He was running so fast, his feet kicked up and hit his own butt, fell down, and all of a sudden he wakes up in the bathtub. His friends told him he stopped breathing. He was not here for a few minutes. So he is destined to be here with us because that was a definitely traumatic incident. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad the bathtub revival worked. Different friends, much later on, they were driving to Chicago for a weekend, and they didn't realize they got there, they didn't know a single soul there or what to go and see and do. This is way before mobile apps and such were invented. So they wondered, what do we do now? Wouldn't it be cool for us as outsiders to be able to get insights directly from passionate citizens, real live people that live in Chicago about where to go and what to do, and not look at travel guide destinations? They want to experience Chicago as a native. And hence the company Rep Your City was born. So Ray will talk to us a little about his current company, Social Sushi, and Rep Your City, and talk about what he's doing now, as soon as we get past the hardware problems.
Sorry about that. Testing stuff.
Okay, 5 minutes.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, my name is Jay Rayford, and I'm the founder of RepYourCity.com, which is a startup, as he explained, that me and a friend decided to venture into a while ago, just off of experiencing another city and not knowing anybody there. And what I've realized over our time working on Rep Your City, which is more of an offline brand than it has been an online brand as of late, is that local people also are disconnected from things that are happening in their city, and travelers are disconnected from experiences that only locals really know. So RepYourCity.com is based off of an interest-based platform. And our market that we identified, which is fairly new, so bear with me in my presentation right now. So tourism is a big contributor to economic development in urban cities. As you know, more and more people, like here in Detroit, more and more people are moving to urban centers around the country. The opportunity that presents in urban tourism is that every dollar spent in destination marketing generates $38 in spending across the international markets. And this expands as far as local businesses, restaurants, local artists and museums, things of that nature. And the opportunity represents a $4 billion opportunity. And the target market that we're looking at concentrating on is tour operators, hospitality retail, economic development organizations, museum art galleries, and things of that nature. Discussion of travel. The market problem that we realized in talking to target customers that we discovered through working through our business model generation canvas, which we're still working on, still scratching out, things of that nature. So our revenue model and things like that are still not fully planned out. But we realized that most of the way that destination marketing organizations promote travel and things like that is kind of one directional. It's usually tourism agencies focus on travelers. They're very disconnected from true local citizens and local experiences that are happening in the cities. So it deprives the community, the local businesses, when travelers can't reach to those unique experiences as you, as local residents, will be able to share those experiences. And as of late, if you ever try to find out what things that are going on in the city and things like that, you have to go to, I don't know, myself, I have between 10 and 12 different resources that I go to find out about things happening in the city. And there's no real centralized place to find that data. And cities don't currently have a way to engage with their citizens, or like for their travelers that come to the city as well. So with the tourism industry, it's usually a one contact deal. They get them here and then they leave them to different tourism-based experiences in the city. But of course, like I said before, travelers are looking to get a deeper experience. And this industry is also ripe for disruption. There are tons of travel apps and things like that out there that are focused on connecting people based off of user-created travel guides. There's different type of apps that connect people based off of where you are, things of that nature. And our solution is to create a city-based platform to discover, collect, and engage with people, places, and things that are happening around the city through interest-filtered content. And what this means is that through this platform, you will be able to identify what your interests are, and data will come in based off of what other people in that area are sharing in your city, as well as the city that you may want to travel to. It allows better local engagement that connects people to interests and things that are happening, and connects cities with travelers as well. And the missing link that we feel like that we can provide is taking those destination marketing organizations and giving them the ability to have two-way conversation and engagement with not only travelers but local citizens and experiences as well, to connect those travelers to those experiences. This is our team, myself, Grace Montero, Xavier Johnson, Chris Bickner, and Bud McDonald. And we're still researching our business model, but we're looking at a freemium model for the aspect of analytics for these destination marketing organizations. We're also looking at civic engagement consulting. Myself, have been doing that as of late. Actually, over the past 6 months, I've been doing a lot of civic engagement consulting, and then we believe that taking a model that we use here in Detroit can be duplicated in other cities across the country. And also event planning. These are ways that we can kind of package live entertainment and things like that happening around the city. Thank you.
Questions?
Yes.
Okay. When it says your interest, I really didn't get that because it says your interest, your city, connected. How does your interest kind of goes into your city? Like because it can be a lot of things with your interest. Are you interested in the things that's happening in Detroit, or is it like interest in your company, or is it interest in different other types of companies? Like, what do you mean by your interest?
Well, it's all of the above, really. So anything that you're interested in, it can be sports, fashion, music, live entertainment, it kind of, whatever your interests are, we want you to be able to connect with other people in that city based off of your same interests versus not just like this. For Facebook, you only find out about things based off of who you're friends with. We want you to find out about different experiences and meet different people based off of experience, your interest, no matter where, no matter who you're friends with. We want you to meet new people and find out about new experiences through our platform.
Yeah, have you thought about any corporate sponsorships or anything like that anybody you can partner with to help move it along faster?
Yeah, we're definitely, I'm looking actually into the tourism and travel and tourism, like visitor bureaus and things like that we can connect with. But also city managers as well, being the city tourism itself on the internal end. Where do you see the content coming for this platform? Like, it'll come from users primarily. Well, our target market being the direct marketing, destination marketing, things like that. So information from there, from local businesses, from historical visitor areas and things like that. We'll kind of get the platform started with that kind of data, but then also we'll attract users to the app as far as sharing those experiences and having those conversations through the platform to be able to connect and share their interests with other people that they may not know.
Well, what is your unique selling point for your application? It seems like there's some other apps out here that are trying to do this same type of work that you want to do in the city. So what would make me want to use your app than someone else's application?
Well, our goal is to bring all these intersecting points. Like I said, it's like 10 to 12 different avenues that I use to find out things that are happening in the city. Our goal is to partner with them to include their information on our platform. And then also being able to use other social networks and bringing that data in as well. So different news sources also would be kind of our unique goal of connecting with news sources. And we all know that they're trying to find new ways to engage with local people and travelers.
So you're trying to be a one-stop shop for information?
Yes.
This will have nothing to do with what you're saying, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
But what is the real definition of a founder?
What's the real definition of a founder? Like, who founded, who created Super Business Girl? Mm-hmm. So you're the founder. That's the core foundation. You developed the idea, you came up with it. So.
Dan Gilbert, he got something like that also. We went to his isms, and he has in place the exact same information board where you can come and get any type of information on anything that's going on down here in Detroit, as well as going on in his business. I forget the name I think it's called That Guy or something like that. You pick up the phone and you speak to that guy. Is it sort of like that? Because he said that it's pretty, good for him, but he's not making any money off of it. He just uses
I think that's too because he's kind of focused on, kind of his movements within just a specific area, which is downtown Detroit. But our goal is actually include urban communities as well, because they kind of get left out of the picture in tourism a lot of times. But those are where the unique experiences that travelers may want to find out about. But also, our goal is to connect those dots as well, because a lot of the platforms that contain information are mostly kind of, they have their sources of information different than everybody else. So that's been the biggest issue. So if you go to Metro Times, it's usually the same people that advertise events that are happening there. Another website may be the same thing, but we're trying to bring it all to one place. I think that's the first question.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that I'm correctly understanding this. So like what you're saying is, like, generally speaking, when you're looking from the outside in, you're not going to have the same experience than if you were to experience the city from like an actual native. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's based off of, I mean, you can find this information based off of the interest that you set for your own city. So once you know that you want to go to Detroit or Chicago, you can go to Chicago and you'll find similar interests that you already kind of defined.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to switch tapes. So, Donald, walk very slowly. Exactly, that's about the right pace. We'll put the new tape in. While Donald's slowly making his way up here, you can walk a little bit faster now. Donald's going to talk about practice space. As an 8-year-old, he was in a McDonald's commercial for baked apple pies. You remember that commercial? Well, not really. What was really interesting, the practice space workspace is also used during downtimes as a dance floor and as a music venue. That's definitely creative. So, take it away, 5 minutes.
Awesome. Yeah, so excited to be here tonight. Thanks for coming out on a fairly cold and chilly Thursday evening. Here to talk about Practice Space, which is a business that we just recently launched this past September. That's taking a little bit of a different tack from some of the things that we've been talking about this afternoon, which are mostly tech focused, and we're really focused on place-based businesses. So one of the things when we look at the city of Detroit, one of the narratives that we're used to hearing about is the frequent and abundance of underutilized or vacant space. And so that's something that people are familiar seeing. That's a common theme that people talk about. So you're kind of seeing some of those underutilized or vacant spaces around the city. And to actually, one could look at that and say, wow, there's a lot of of downturn in the economy that's led to that. I think that there's also a lot of opportunity that people are seeing within that. But in order to actually make that space into something commercially viable, it takes quite a bit to actually go through one of those transitions. As I'm sure Amanda and Dave could talk about for getting this space into what it is. There's a real process into having to get that space into a place where it can be utilized. There's also an abundance of entrepreneurs such as Asia, such as some of the other folks that had presented here that are interested in being in a space, and so there's sets of architects, designers, artists that are here working through that, and so we're trying to help create some of those connections at Practice Space through our program, which is making this combination between architecture, business, and storytelling to try to cultivate these place-based businesses. So we're doing that out of a location in North Corktown. Joe's Auto Body Garage is an old garage that we converted into this collaborative workspace to run our program out of. And so that's a space that it kind of has this gritty vibe to it, but we've injected some new design into the space where a team can work collaboratively. And so as we look at kind of what it takes to bring one of these place-based projects into existence, there's our context of what we're working, kind of an idea that someone may come up with to found something, and then going through this concept design and pre-development work for what it's going to take to actually bring that concept into a reality, and then investment and funding to move forward with that, followed by the design and development, working with architects, designers, builders, then going out and building that space and then operating that. So Practice Space focuses on this concept design and pre-development. and we're really trying to fuse architecture and that architectural design for what it would be to design this place-based business with a business model to ensure that that is something that's financially sustainable, that fits within that space. And that's all being done within the context of the community. So we have a design methodology that's trying to incorporate design and storytelling into how to communicate a vision for what a space and a business could be turned into. So we do that through an incubator program where we team up an entrepreneur that's interested in creating this place-based business with a group of residents who are coming from backgrounds of architecture, design. They're emerging creatives in Detroit and looking to work on these place-based projects. So we, for that incubator project, it's a 4-month design and development process that costs $3,000. They have a dedicated room at our workspace, and they're paired up with a team of 3 to 5 residents to work on their project. The residents are actually also paying to participate in that program, where they have a dedicated desk at our space, and they're working over the course of a year on 3 projects with our team. So they're building up their skill set as well as having a place to work out of and set context. So we have actually our first project just completed is a woman who owns a building on the north end. It's this old corner store attached to a residential home. She's interested in turning that into a natural foods grocery store. So we've been working through that program over the last 4 months to come up with a concept book to really tell that story. So that's us at Practice Space, and we'd love to hear some of your questions and kind of chat about the business model and any other comments or thoughts that you have.
Great.
Who has the first question?
Go ahead.
Yes.
So my question is, how do you select the resident? Like, is it like an application? Is it like a fellowship program? Like, who are these artists?
Yeah, so we have actually on our website, there's a link on the website for the residency program, which goes into a lot more detail of what that actually entails, and then it's an application process that's fairly short and straightforward, and then it's a, I would say, interview, but also kind of a getting to know each other to really understand like what they're looking to get out of the program and seeing if that may be the right fit for the types of projects that we're working on.
So they're paying you though to participate in the program.
Exactly, yes. So, and that's kind of a bit of a different model. It's kind of a chance to have a space to work out of. So half of their time, so 20 hours a week, they're working on the projects that we've lined up. The other half of the time, they're using the space, or they're working a part-time job. A lot of them are coming from backgrounds of architecture or design, or freelance photography or video, and so they're interested in building their own practice. And so that's a place where they can develop that skill set and have kind of a community of people, other designers to help cultivate that. Dave?
So big picture, everything goes exactly how you planned, and all of your dreams come true. What is the ideal outcome for Practice Space?
Yeah, one of the things, it's a great question, that continuing to work through, but we're definitely interested in helping, as projects really hatching their concept through our program, we're interested in helping projects then get funded coming out of that. So we talked, Adrian and I talked a little bit about crowdfunding. That's something we're very interested in, enabling investment opportunities for people in Detroit to be able to own part of the corner store that they live down the street from. That's something that we're definitely interested in from like a wealth creation within the community, and really helping that those types of projects be able to get the support that they're not really getting, and kind of being overlooked through the standard financial channels of what's a kind of a bankable project. Other questions? Yeah.
So how is it, if somebody was to invest in that, how you know, are they going to make that? How are they going to make a return investment, and how long would they have to wait?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that we haven't kind of sorted through all the way, but just to, as kind of an idea, it would be something that someone's investing as part of a renovation effort of a building, and then they're getting some kind of equity ownership in that building. And then based on that building being rented to a tenant, they're receiving some kind of revenue sharing, or they're doing some kind of dividend that's being issued that's, let's say, 3 to 4% of what they put in. And that's you're getting kind of this dividend coming out of the ownership, as well as a potential upside of the property value increasing as well.
What about the risk?
Yeah, and that's a really big thing, that these types of projects are inherently risky. So that would be something that would have to be communicated to anyone who's interested in investing, is that you really shouldn't be investing your money if you can't afford to lose it, because these are riskier projects. I think in addition to the financial return, there's also that social return of being able to contribute to something within your own community, feel ownership within that, and actually have part of that as part of your own portfolio of investments. It's really easy to invest in stocks for multinational companies. It's actually quite difficult to find investment in an approachable way for your own local community, and that's one thing that we're kind of looking at, trying to help cultivate projects that would help that.
So is this a business incubator?
It is, yes.
So
as well as a residency program.
Is it like Tech Town in your neighborhood?
Yeah, so Tech Town has like a retail boot camp program that there's some similarities in that they're doing like an 8-week, 1 night a week program. Ours is a little bit more time intensive, so we're really asking the entrepreneur to be a part of the team, and so they're spending 12 to 15 hours a week with the team, working collaboratively. So that's something, and they're also then getting this dedicated team of 3 to 5 residents that are working, coming from backgrounds of architecture, design, business. So there's some similarities, but there's also some differences to something like Tech Town.
Great. Thank you. Great, thank you everyone very much. What are the events coming up over the next 30 days? Our next DNewTech will be February 6th. We're going to stay with Thursdays for 2014. Check the website to see where we will be. The big one is ACE, Annual Collaboration for Entrepreneurs, January 30th at Burton Manor from 2 to 8. It's become a huge event. This is the 14th annual episode of it, if you will. It draws about 1,000 people a year. And everybody who's anyone in the entrepreneurship world is there. So it's a great place to meet the people that you can't catch up to anywhere else. Yes?
And I'm the coordinator of the video for that again. So I need a couple more bodies to help run the cameras. So if anybody's into video and wants to help and get free admission, you get the $25 worth of food for free.
I would volunteer, except I'll be leading one of the sessions. I have 2 of the state's top commercialization people and a couple of lawyers, and we'll be using MIT's technology to review top 10 technologies in the world to be watching. So we'll be presenting a forum on that and giving the Michigan spin on what's going on with that. So.
How many have not been to ACE?
Have not been to ACE.
Not been
Annual
to
Collaboration
ACE.
Entrepreneurs.
Go to ace-event.org.
Yes.
You can see some of the teaser videos there that Jim Campbell did, interviewing people, what advantage they have of going to ACE. And then there's the past events if you want to see what the sessions are like.
Just a quick endorsement on ACE. I have a client who did the pitch there last year, the 60-second pitch. Led to a series of events. This is a company called Pure Launcher. Ended up raising about $500,000 as a result of some of the exposure there. So things do happen by getting exposure.
ACE is also connected to GLEQ, Great Lakes Entrepreneurs Quest. So it's the sort of first phase of it, and then GLEQ finishes up in June. And so it is quite the event to go to if you've never been. Any other? Yes.
Yeah, coming up the last weekend in February 28th, March 1st, and March 2nd is Crowd Camp. So if you're interested in crowdfunding, It's a great event. It's Crowd Camp Detroit. It's going to be at Grand Circus. If you want to find out more about it, go to mmic.us. So it's Mid-Michigan Innovation Center is helping to put it on. We're going to have the founder from Rocket Hub, which is one of the top 3 largest crowdfunding sites in the U.S. Is going to be doing it and leading it. So a great event if you're interested in learning more about crowdfunding. Check that out.
You put a link up on the meetup for this.
I'll do that in the comments, sure.
Coming up in January, or at the end of this month, from the 20th to the 24th, Detroit is coming together for our collab week. So all the co-working spaces in the area are coming together. We're going to be doing an event here at Bamboo Detroit for the Lean Startup. We're calling it a Lean Startup Challenge, where everyone can just come here, learn about what Lean Startup is, and participate in a little challenge that we put together. That's going to be from 6 to 9 on the 20th. That's a Monday. You can visit collabdetroit.com for more information on the other spaces. Practice Space is a part of that. Bizdom, just to rattle off a few, some other ones. Yeah, Tech Town, Grand Circus, yep. So, yeah, we'd love to see you here for that, too.
Oh, for anybody just curious, 74,100,000 hits for Super Business Girl Detroit on Google.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, that's like more than all the rest of us combined.
Exactly, yes. Good kill.
Also on Social Sushi Detroit, we're in collaboration with the Collab Detroit event on Friday. That Friday, we're actually doing lunch. We're serving lunch at Tech Town. Their co-working space is called Junction 440, so please come check us out. There's going to be live entertainment, of course, sushi. So if you love sushi, come on by.
Any other events that people want to announce? Well, great. Thank you all for braving the weather and coming out. I think the presenters will stay for a while and you can network with them, so thank you very much.
Ace dish. I'll put a link on but if you look for Ace 14,